Alright, welcome back, guys. It's time for a strategy video. One I've done in the past. It's kind of like a battle lines where we discuss tactics and things that go on in battles that you might not really notice the details. So let's take a look at a strategy from a player who is really regarded as one of the best rush players in Empire Total War, Skzapad. And yeah, let's get this down. Let's break it down. This again is David with Fairmere's Rangers, and I do appreciate you for joining us today. If you haven't been with us before, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe. It does help the channel, helps us to get to where we're trying to go. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers, and I appreciate all of you for joining us for this journey. So let's break this bad boy on down. So Skzapad breaks it down with two rifles you can see here on either front, a Scot who is platoon fire, a line on the flank. You can see the Scots again I'm going to show as platoon fire, and then he's going to have the Holland Guards, which are going to fill out the center. And those would be right here. 3 of them. And you can see I'm notating them as platoon fire by the lines like this. And 2 more over there. And a militia, which is very key to his strategy. And again, he's got his 4 light dragoons that are also going to be used in this formation. So 16 units altogether. I'll even draw you a little horse. It's not really going like I planned. Yeah, it's got like a tumor or something. It's not a tumor. Alright, so this formation he'll slap into Brute, and he'll run all those units together. This formation is very simplistic, and it really helps to group your units together. That way you can move them all as one cohesive unit. And by having this army with all these platoon fire units really allows him to have a compact army. Now you can see his opponent is going to be USA, and he is going to be blobbed up. And this, for the type of army he has, might not always be the best situation. Now another tactic that Skza will apply, he's going to drop stakes here on the 2 sides of the woodland of this, and this of course is the Finland map, which we play most regularly. And he does that because this gives him a little bit of bullet protection, because there's no woodland on those 2 flanks. You can see where the woods kind of dent out, so this provides a little bit of bullet protection and also cab protection. So very good strategy indeed. And you can see here Skza is very prone to pushing straight away, but the reason he's not, which is a very clever reason, you can see there's 4 Austrian guards and 4 Swedish light dragoons that would be helping out the American player if Skza does tip to make a push. And you can see his British ally is only just now getting up into the woodland, and so he can't necessarily make a push at this time unless he wants to go up against greater odds than what he should. So this push is that he uses can be also used as a very good defense, and we're going to see the defensive portion of it here in this video with this strategy. So you can see very clearly that this army can easily go into a rush army or into defense. Now there's a couple things I want to look at here. You can see the American units. There's a lot of militia, Minutemen and lines in there, and he's got them bunched up. So you can only shoot 3 ranks deep on units like the 2nd New York, 1st Maryland, and line infantry. So you need to spread out to 3 ranks at the most. Otherwise, you're not maximizing your firepower. And Skza is all about firepower when you face him. You have to have maximum firepower, because he's going to bring maximum firepower against you. All 16 units. And we'll see the devastation. Now you can see, again, this is a 4v4 So we got to set that up for you. Now, the American player is going to start an assault against Skz's defense position. Now, they're going to exchange skirmish firing, and the American player is going to get the better end of this fight, but only just barely. I think he only kills like 5 more riflemen than Skza kills of him. But the difference is Skza is going to stay implanted, and he is going to keep this defensive position, and he's going to start shooting into the militia or the Minutemen there while the American rifles are reloading. American rifles are going to reload and come back forth and lay down another volley on Skz's rifles and deplete his rifles a little bit more. Now, again, actually on this volley he's trying to hit some of his units on the flank, and he's going through stakes. Now let's take a look at this real quick. The American player's got 2 guards and a line of infantry and then 2 Minutemen. So 5 units here make up his infantry, and he's also got 2 long rifles, and so that's 7 units versus 16 that he's bringing to bear at this moment. Now he is also going to bring his 4 light dragoons to help out, so in total he's going to be going 11 units to 16 units. So I'll let you do the math on that, and let's see how that turns out for him. And we'll roll it forward. Okay, so again, you can see here his light dragoons haven't come up yet, but I can promise you they will be very shortly. Okay, so the guards are starting to open up. Now, one thing that this American player is doing very well is a common Skza tactic is he's going to use the militia indented out, as you can see here, out in front of his guards, so his militia takes most of the damage. If you're not targeting, you will shoot the militia while his guards rip through you. So, in this instance, you can see that the American player has done very well into targeting the Holland Guard with both his guards, but unfortunately he doesn't have enough units. He's going up against 3 Holland Guard on that flank and a militia versus 2 guards and 2 Minutemen. That's also, he's now got his other 2 Holland Guard moved up, and the American player has moved up his light dragoons. So let's take a look at this and break this down. Now you can see at this point of the battle, one of his guards, or one of his units is routed off, one of his Minutemen is still standing, and 2 of his longs are still there. And he's got his line, and it's very depleted guards. Those are very expensive units, and he's got them pretty much almost gone at this point of the battle. Now he's bringing up his reserves, and Skza has taken very minimal damage in the process and inflicted pretty expensive losses on the American player. So this is the pure definition of defeat in detail. Why do I say that? Again, it's because the American player went up 16 units versus 11, so he outnumbered the American player. Now the American player is going to bring 5 more units up, and these units are not going to have the firepower that Skza is going to be able to bring to bear, and we'll see the results of what happens there. And also, not to mention, he is entrenched in the woodland in a very defensible position. If you're attacking a woodland, you need to go in with a better army than your opponent, and also better tactics. And you see here the long rifles are having to shoot through the stakes, so you can see the defensive use of the stakes is really coming into great effect. And now you're going to see Skza is going to start launching an assault now that he has units to free up to hit his opponent with. He is now going to push the long rifles back by bringing up his line and Scots and all of his light dragoons in the flank. He's going up against all the light dragoons in the center because the light dragoons of the American player are having to shoot through the woodland. And also there's another little key caveat to what's happening. And the American player is getting anxious, so he's going to send one of his light dragoons into melee, but he also hits the stakes, which happens sometimes when you get anxious. Alright, so let's take a look at this. So, all the light dragoons that are in the center, you're going to see some of these units when he came up, these are line volleying and they're shooting at the militia, which is outset a little bit. And then he's going to bring forth all of his light dragoons, and guess what they're going to shoot at? That's right, they're going to be targeting the militia because it is the closest unit. So we can take a look at it here from this vantage point, and you can see what I'm talking about. So you can see how the militia is kind of bulged out, and the Holland Guard is offset just a slight bit. That way all the units are going to be volleying into the militia, which is a cheap unit, and it takes most of the damage, while his more expensive and better quality unit, the Holland Guard, remains mostly intact. Alright, so hopefully I'm making this very clear. Trying to do my best by scribbling all over the place. And now you can see in the woodland, again, he's lost 70 of his, or he's down to 70 of his militia. Even in the woodland, he's not taking a great amount of damage. And you see all of his guards are still pretty much intact. And he's got all of his light dragoons pretty much intact. Now, this is going to bring me to another point. In a 4v4 game, you're only as good as your allies. So, our ally has light dragoons as well, but his opponent's light dragoons are going to start making a pretty big indent here on one of Skza's line infantry on the flank. 4 light dragoons. It could have been far worse, to be honest. But you're going to see the British player is going to start swinging his light dragoons around to help, but it comes very late to react. Alright, so here Skza is going to start making his push now that he sees the American player is in disarray. He has lost a pretty vast portion of his army at this point. He's going to do this by pushing with a Scot on the flank and a line infantry, and he's going to bring all of his light dragoons to bear. Now that the American player only has 3 and Skza has 4 light dragoons, he is going to have a numerical advantage in this fight. Plus, his units on this fight, the line infantry and the Scot, are much better quality than what the Americans are displaying on the flank. And you can see they are tucking tail and running. And there's only 3 units holding his center now. And he's got 2 units in reserve, of course, with his long rifles. And he's down to 2 light dragoons, so he is pretty much just in ratter and tatters at this point of the battle. Alright, so now you can see that the American player, again, he's going to have to withdraw, and it's going to be up to the Austrian to hopefully help him out, and that is what is about to occur. Spoiler alert. You can see the Dutch light dragoons of Skza's are just decimating that line infantry, and it's going to tuck tail and run, and he can now advance, and as he has pushed the American player into the woodland, now he's going to do his militia meat shield run, and he is going to now start unleashing with the guards and bringing his light infantry up as a screen. So at this point, he doesn't even feel he needs the riflemen. He's more worried about keeping his guards intact, which is frankly a better units to keep, especially late game, as people start to deplete their bullets off their riflemen. Now you can see the British player is laying back. Now he's got way more units than the Austrian in the center, because the Austrian has all of his light dragoons helping over here against Skza's push, and he's also bringing line infantry to bear on him as well. So the British has every ability to push and completely break the center, but he is sitting still, and he has still not provided any help with light dragoons, even though Skza is taking on a tremendous amount. He is starting to break the American light dragoons, but he has lost one of his own in the process. And you can see the firepower with all the light dragoons here is taking a toll. He lost his flanking line unit, but luckily he has almost completely broken the American player. So what could have been a complete demolishing of the American player has been stalled because of lack of allied support and better teamwork on the opponent's side. So again, you can see the center of the battlefield. He's got 4 Austrian units basically lined holding up the center versus all those British units. And the British player does finally bring his light dragoons in, but he's sending his cav in without the line support, which is not wise. You're going to take damage doing so. So it's not really great light dragoon management there. And I'm not trying to pick on this player. I'm just stating the obvious here, so that other people cannot make this mistake. We are all going to make mistakes in the game, but you want to make sure to use your light dragoons with protection. There's going to be a couple other mistakes that he's going to use or have with his light dragoons as well. But you can see the American player is down to 2 units now, and they're both Minutemen. And now Skza is starting to whittle down the Austrian player. The Austrian player knows that that flank is lost, so he is going to pull back, which is a very wise decision. But one thing he does before, as he sees Skza shifting over, is he's going to take a shot on the rifleman, but he does shoot the line instead, which is probably not a bad thing for him in this case. And you can see the British player did not respond with his light dragoons. He is apt to just skirmish out here, which is not what we need at this point on the battle. He should be pushing out. He's only got 4 line and 2 Grinzers in front of him with all that army. And the Dutch of Skza is pushing the flank, so he has every ability to team up on them. But now the defeat in detail is happening on our side. Now you can see the British player is also going to do another fatal mistake here. He's going to bring his light dragoons behind Skza's, not 2 on either side, to try to help versus the Austrian light dragoons, and he's going to actually shoot Skza's light dragoon right in the back. As you can see that happening momentarily. I might pull the camera away. I don't want to watch it. Don't want to see it. There it goes. He gets a few of his goons there. All right, so with that amazing push that Skza had, he destroyed the American army and has now whittled down portion of the Austrian army. Still got a few units left, not as many, but with all this units, you could think that this would be an easy win for the combined forces, but it's not going to be as easy as you would think. And I'm only showing this part simply to illustrate how things can go well and then go poorly. So now you're going to see Skza. He's going to push up into the woods. He's only got 3 units left. He's using his rifleman as a meat shield. Now I want you to see this. This is poor maneuvering, and Empire is all about maneuvering. What he's doing here by this is he is taking a high risk of shooting his own light dragoons in the back by maneuvering in that way. So there's a better way to maneuver. Either you go 1 dragoon at a time, or you sweep around. There's many different ways you can swipe to make sure that you don't shoot yourself in the back. Plus, not to mention, the Austrians have 3 light dragoons there, and they are going to be able to defend off his 4 light dragoons. But you can see, even still, Skza is breaking the Austrian player here with just 3 units. Just 3 units, and no assistance from the British. Like 0. So now the British player is finally going to start moving up his Black Watch and his line. But again, still, the center is pretty much intact. Now, I could be pushing out. I'm the French player. I could be pushing out, but the top of the battlefield is taking a turn for the worse. So I am trying to keep my units there because I'm in the fear that we're going to have to completely fall back. I'm using my cav to help my Russian ally in his fall. And you're going to see at this point in time, the Austrian player that I'm fighting is going to start sending his cav to help. But he forgot about my Tierlers there. And I've almost depleted all my cav, but I still have 2 left. And you can see here, I get a shot on him, but he is still going to get 4 of his cav over. And watch the teamwork here. Watch the teamwork by the 2 Austrian players in the center. So the cav is the player that is my responsibility. So I see my responsibility is falling here, so I'm going to push line and my light infantry up to make sure that I am not going without taking care of my responsibility. Also, if you didn't notice in the background, there's 2 British units sitting on the center hill doing nothing. Alright, so here's another bad maneuver by your light dragoons. He's got the attack order on, and I know that because I got the spacebar held down, and he is going to attack order with melee into the Austrian general. But the problem is, when you're doing that, you're highly prone to shooting yourself in the back, which is exactly what happened there. So even though he's got 4 light dragoons, he's going to end up losing all 4 of these light dragoons right here. This is based on poor maneuvering and management of your units. And you're going to see here, I'm going to come in force against the 2 Austrian players, and I am rolling up to make sure that the Austrian does not bring any more reinforcements, as he has moved the remainder of his army up on the hill, as he feels that is the best tactic to win on the top. But in the meantime, he has left the center completely open for me. Alright, so you can see my light infantry is opening up, and I am going to start an assault with my infantry and my cav. And you can see what was once a very promising position on the bottom is now deteriorated until almost lost because of the Austrian light dragoons here on both sides. So both of the center players light dragoons. Now you can see my cav is going to get a nice push into the back of the light dragoons and keep them pinned in between the British infantry and my infantry. And this is going to allow us to pincer in the Austrians as they made their last push, desperate attempt to win that flank. Alright, so here we've got the Austrians pretty much bottled up. There's not many of them left. And we are going to start wrapping them up here. So this battle is going to be coming to pretty much an end. This is pretty much the finale of the battle. So I hope you did enjoy this. Hopefully you can learn something from this. Again, simplicity is key. So you can see I wanted to illustrate Skz's push and defense because it is a simple tactic, but one that can be used very nicely to make sure that you're not overwhelming yourself with tactics that are too difficult to pull off. Sometimes simplicity is best, and it can be used with devastating detail effects, if you will. So, again, hopefully all this made sense to you, and you can use this if you do play multiplayer, or heck, even if you play against the AI in campaign, it can be used to some extent. Just needs to be tweaked because the AI, of course, does not act like a normal player, so you're going to have to tweak it up a bit, if you will. So you can see here the finale of the battle while we get this done. But just again, I want to emphasize the fact that I'm not trying to put anyone down here, any of these opponents or us for any matter's sake, but Skzapad got 1,923 kills. This battle, very well done. His ally on the flank only, I think, managed to get like maybe 600 kills. So you can see where most of the heavy lifting got done on that portion of the battlefield. Alright, so I will see you guys again. Hopefully, again, you did enjoy. Don't forget to hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe. And we'll see you on the next one.